Nearly all video games tell some kind of story. Some are incredibly simple, like folk tales about heroes on strange journeys to save the princess and the fairy tale kingdom. Others are much more complicated and remind us of the best TV series on Netflix or HBO. What they have in common, these games, is that they tell their stories through interactive levels and quests, and that's the topic for today. My name is Martin Holland, and you're watching episode 3 of Dissecting the Gameplay. In Denmark and probably the rest of Scandinavia, many students are taught the so-called Hollywood model. It was invented by Swedish media scholar Ola Olsson in the 1970s, and it simply describes how to tell one heck of a good story on film. It's kind of similar to Hollywood's use of plot points and the 3-act structure. When it comes to video games, though, none of those narrative models work. By definition, video games are interactive, controlled by a participating player. This means that the story is not progressively narrated by a director or an author telling the story to us, the passive audience. Instead, the story is created in some sort of collaboration between us, players, and the video game, making us feel like co-authors or co-narrators who have influence on the final outcome of the story. This narrative method has a deep-felt impact on the game itself. Whereas a novel is typically divided into chapters and a film is divided into scenes, the vast majority of video games are divided into levels. A level can be defined as an area with one or more challenges that you, the player, has to overcome before you can carry on with the next level. And furthermore, the challenges in each level will gradually become harder and harder, so that the player must always exert himself or herself. The obvious effect is that when you complete a level, you feel a sense of victory, you feel a sense of pride and even affirmation. This is the video game equivalent of an emotional plot point in a film. Many games are divided into very clear-cut levels inspired by chapters in novels. For instance, the new Super Mario Bros. Has been divided into geographical areas that the title character, Super Mario, travels through, running from point A to point B in each and every level, in each and every section. This simple level structure clearly underlines the folktale touch that has always been a part of the Super Mario franchise. These games don't deal with the Italian plumber's inner journey or personal development. Neither Mario nor Princess Peach are deep characters. Think about the consequences if Peach, after so many years of being kidnapped again and again, would actually start to develop an emotional attachment to that monstrous lizard, Bowser. The Super Mario franchise never go down that Stockholm Syndrome route, and neither does the storytelling nor the rest of the gameplay. New Super Mario Bros. Is first and foremost a simple folktale centered on a child-friendly message about good conquering evil, and all that starts with a level structure.
Oh yeah, Mario time!
Many video games have a more open-ended level structure where the main character / player can run more freely around, exploring the surroundings on his or her own. Still, many of those games operate with barricaded areas that open up one at a time, but you still feel more free to experiment with the gameplay and the game world. So, how do you know that you're on the right track then? Instead of just navigating from point A to point B without dying in a straightforward level structure, you get quests that you need to deal with to move on to the next quest. A quest is also known as a mission or an objective. It's an assignment which is communicated clearly by the game to the player, and the collected string of quests will, in most mainstream games, end up telling a story. Much like the levels mentioned earlier, once you complete a quest, you will feel a sense of accomplishment and pride. There are, of course, different kinds of quests. Compulsory quests are obviously the backbone of the story. Those are the quests that the game demands that you complete to get the whole story. Optional quests let you explore the game world and get to know more about it. Sometimes optional quests also fill in the blanks about the backstory to the video game. They are also a comfortable way to build up the main character's skill set or a relationship between the main character and the other characters in the game. In The Legend of Zelda: Breath of the Wild, another Nintendo video game, we travel an open game world just like this. The game starts in medias res with our main character Link mysteriously, even mythically, waking up inside a cave. The main gameplay then deals with Link exploring the different areas of the game world and climbing up a number of towers that he needs to turn on. So in that way, Breath of the Wild first and foremost focuses on exploring and mapping out the fabled kingdom of Hyrule. And not just geographically. On his journey, Link learns what has happened to Hyrule before his awakening and what kind of curse he now needs to lift from the world in order to save Princess Zelda. And there's even more. On his journey through the countryside, Link doesn't just regenerate the towers and reconstruct the land, he also rebuilds his own personality, bit by bit, through a series of flashbacks he and we learn about his own past and own fate. So in this way, Breath of the Wild tells a much deeper and more complex story than New Super Mario Bros., despite the fact that both games are about a little anti-hero who needs to save the princess and the fairy tale kingdom. The difference between the two gaming experiences starts with the narration, the use of levels and quests. The most important element in every single quest and every single level is the challenges that the player has to face and deal with. But we don't have time to do these challenges proper justice in this episode. We need a whole episode devoted only to these challenges, so we'll get back to them later on. In next week's episode, we're going to look at something completely different. We're going to zoom in on two narrative principles that can be found in any video game. That's in episode 4 of Dissecting the Gameplay. My name is still Martin Holand. Thank you for watching and see you next week.